Right, and okay. Okay, so hello everyone, this is your Big O recap team for the first recap of the season. As always, I am Tommo and I'm being joined by Liam Coolston. How's it going, Liam?
Good, thank you, Tommo.
And we also have one of the admins for the Big O, Lark. How are things going with you, Lark?
Not too shabby, to say the least.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure your dad's already made a brief appearance in this video, Liam, with his shouting to get fixed, whatever that thing was, but we can just kind of ignore that. So, anyway, so it's been an awesome couple of weeks start to the Big O. I think we've all been enjoying it. There's been like a ton of games cast, a few new video makers as well. I think Nubs put out a few videos of like his games at the start, which has been quite interesting. What have been your guys' favourite moments from the Big O so far?
That one's a bit of a tough question, but I'd say it'd probably be Morka losing his first game and Sanjun drawing his second game, just seeing these playoff teams that we all thought were undefeatable starting to crumble a little bit, and it's really opened up the league a whole lot more.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Papanasi's team has just been menacing to everything, so it's been quite fun to watch that. Like we were saying that both of the two bottom teams in Div 1 currently, with one game still to be played, the two teams who have played Papanasi. So he's been living up to his name so far this season.
I'll also have to give out a big shout out to the new bot in Discord. Bigger update bot letting us know the scores. I think that's going to be a huge change this season. And I think due to that bot, I'm actually a lot more aware of all the games going on now. And have to give a big shout out to the Big Observer by Monkey Chunks with all those funny stories each week. I love to read it whenever it comes around.
Yeah, totally.
And we even saw an underpitch this week, so it really was a special week, wasn't it?
Wow,
Incredibly
underpitch.
special.
What's underpitch?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think we've all been having a lot of fun. Yeah, I think we've definitely got the best content creation teams. Like, out of like everything here, there's so many people in the Big O that just do so much stuff. We could even fill up our own subreddit with a whole bunch of like rubbish that you guys put out. But anyway, let's have a start talking about the divisions this week. So we're going to start with the Big O Season 6 Division 3. Our first actual look at it and the real division and the in-game client. Not us kind of making our little makeshift thing. Anyway, Lark, you're our guest for this week, so as always, you get the first pick of the teams. So who are you going to talk about?
It's so hard, but you have to support your dwarf buddies. Have to go with Goldie Dwarf. Or Goldie Dwarf, I think it's pronounced here.
There he is.
So, yeah, but it's the same theme naming all his players after gold. It's looking like a very interesting team. I think the main thing is no development on the Longbeards except for one guard piece. All of the development going onto the blitzers and the runner. And they're very, very developed. So he's got, luckily enough, rolled movement, then doubles for a movement dodge runner. and he's got 2 guard pieces with his blitzers. So there's a very interesting team at the moment, and it's currently won both of its games 1-0, I believe. So it's really dominating the league at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm a fellow Div 3 coach, and yeah, Goldie Wharf has really emerged and made a statement. Yeah, they're quite a scary team. 3 guard already is good. I think what Julian would probably disappoint, and I think Lark will agree, just his MVPs, I just had a look. Doe has soaked up 2 of the MVPs, which you never want your runner getting too many MVPs because he's going to be scoring a lot anyway. So he just wants his MVPs to fall into the Troll Slayers and the Longbeards. Because once they get Guard and they get Mighty Blow, they really just start to push the Dwarf team developing.
Oh, definitely. Not getting an MVP on the Troll Slayers or Longbeard really does hurt because you do need those guard pieces and those Mighty Blow pieces doing some work. All he's really done is turned his blitzers and his runner a little bit quicker to be similar to humans and orcs at the moment. So it's a lot of bloat. At the same time, when they do get a lot more development, they'll be a lot more dangerous. The one thing I don't like about this team is the dodge on fat stacks, just because I don't like the dodge on blitzers. Having a blitz is frustrating for an opponent, but I think there's much better skills you can get when you roll doubles on a blitzer, such as diving tackle or jump up, to really make your opponents cry a little.
Yeah, I got to admit, jump up is really nice on blitzers because also being AV9 means that you're gonna, when you get hit, you are able to jump up, and of course the synergy with piling on is great, which you want to get a good player for piling on, and blitzers can be actually really good for that because they don't have the frenzy that the Troll Slayers do have. I can see the point of dodge though. Div 3, it's not going to be too tackle heavy other than the chorfs that are in there as well, simply because there's not much bash. So I don't think we'll see too much tackle compared to guard. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, Julian's quite a good coach as well. I think he slipped up against my brother at the end of last year, but apart from that, he beat me, for example, and kind of ruined some of my run in towards the end of the season, which was. I'm not salty at all that I only got 1 bye last season and everyone else in the top 6 got 3, but I guess I am kind of a little bit salty. I ended up having to play him instead. But anyway, let's move on to the next team. That's your pick, Liam. If I remember right, you're going to be talking about yourself.
Yep. So I'm going to talk about myself. I'm not going to usually do that every week, but this week we are, mainly because actually me and Julian are playing this week. So we're actually the top 2 at the moment in the division. We have not been defeated so far. So it should be a really good game and probably a really tough game for me. So yeah, he's looking a bit worrying because I've been trying to get all my Chaos Dwarf blockers the Mighty Blow. As you can see, there's lots of Mighty Blow there everywhere. But yeah, the MVPs haven't quite been falling on the Chaos Dwarf blockers, which is a little sad, but not really much to worry about. And interestingly, like if you look at this Bull Centaur, Flow Through has actually developed like crazy. He's I believe Lark put a bounty on him. He's had 3 MVPs out of his 5 matches. And he's also got 6 touchdowns. So he's done really well to get to 33 SPP from only 5 matches as a Bull Centaur. And that's really handy for my team because, of course, Bull Centaurs are very important, but they're quite average early on. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how they keep going because all this Mighty Blow becomes a lot more redundant against the Dwarves with the AV9. Still handy, but not as handy as Guard would have been. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I chose Guard on the Bull Centaur basically because of the fact that I'm underguarded in this matchup, and having a Guard block break tackle piece should be really, really handy.
I really love that pickup of guard. I know it seems a bit stupid putting it on a valuable piece, but once your team gets developed, and let's say you have 8 guard pieces, no one's going to want to play against you. And I just think guard's such a strong skill. I think you're right that this match is going to be tough because he's got those troll slayers to deal with the bull centaurs. He's out guarding you already, even though they've got multiplier. That just means it's AV8 instead of AV9, which is no big deal. But at the same time, if a bull centaur breaks free, well, it kind of does have the movement speed to catch up to you with all his setups. So yeah, it's definitely not in your favor, but at the same time, team is developing kind of well.
Yeah, I think it's a case of my team counters his a bit with those bull centaurs being quick and having the break tackle, but his team counters mine a bit more with all that guard already. But it really will be an interesting match, I think.
I don't know, like, your team looks a bit more killy in general, I think. Like, I know that he's got a lot more guard and everything on his pieces, but you're with your 3 Mighty Blow, you know, if you just roll the dice and see what happens type of thing. As well, I kind of agree with the guard pickup. You know, it's early on in the division. I think Division 3 looks very kind of bashy anyway. You know, if it was like, you know, if your team was kind of composed similar to the way that Div 2 is, you know, you would think, okay, maybe you should be looking at tackle. So, you know, when everyone starts picking up their bludge and stuff, you've got a good safety that can cover the ground and take them down. But with the division being as bashy as it is, I think it's a really good choice.
Yeah, just the guard break tackle is really nice, and it means I have at least one guard to position against these dwarves.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, you've won your first 2 games, both 3-0 over Perfecto and 2-0 over the Silverhand Knights.
Yeah, they've had a really nice start, this team. 5-1-0 so far through spins and the season, so
No,
yeah,
no
can't
level ups on
complain at all.
hobos either. I think that's quite big.
Yeah. Well, I got 1500. It's going to actually be a really interesting thing about our match is I'll have to see who gets inducements first because that can have a big impact because of course you could buy a wizard. I think Julian, being a dwarf team, usually you have quite a bit of money spare. Oh no, he doesn't have enough for a wizard, but I do. So since both teams are 1280, if I were to say go first in inducements, I can't buy a wizard without him getting inducement money as well. But if I'm second, I can sneakily buy a wizard. So it'll be interesting to see that they actually could have a really key part in the game. Cyanide's dodgy programming.
Does it actually work like that in Cyanide? I thought it was just set
I don't think it does.
beforehand. No, I think even if you go first, you
Did
could
they
probably
fix
get
it?
the wizard.
I can't remember if they fixed it because I know that it used to give you more if you used money out of your petty cash. I hope they fixed it because I had it used against me and I hate it.
Well, no, like, the way that you were talking about it would be if it was fixed. Like, you know, I don't know.
See, what's meant to happen is you're meant to declare your petty cash and then do it. So both coaches declare petty cash before they choose inducements at the same time. And so then you actually buy your inducements and it's altered depending on if you dump money in. Because now what it means is if you're going second, since you don't have to declare petty cash, I can buy a wizard without the other coach getting a wizard. So I've effectively got 1500 free TV.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could do that if you were first even as well, though.
I
We'll
think
see.
Tommo's right here.
I can't
Either
remember.
way,
Maybe I'm
don't
wrong.
think the wizard's most effective way to spend your money because you might lose a hobgoblin or two, or you may even lose a game.
Yeah, it might be just buy a hobgoblin and sack him after the match because I don't want him stealing MVPs against other teams. So
That'd
yeah,
work.
we will see.
Alrighty then. And we best be moving on to my pick, and if I actually remember who it was I was going to talk about. Oh, Caleb's team, of course. I like this mainly because he seems to have had a good start to the season this time. You know, I've talked about this hundreds and hundreds of times doing these like recap things. Like, I love it when players skill up their players when they've already got choices and roles and things in mind beforehand. And again, gutter runners are such an easy kind of thing to get SPP on and to skill them up to do like a variety of roles. So if we have a look at Drow Ranger here. Is this all Dota heroes or something? Oh, Wrath of the Ancient.
Think it
Yes,
is.
of course it is. Yeah, so Drow Ranger there with the Wrestle Dodge. Again, great. Looking forward to it in Ball Sacker. He's got a Bludge guy who can be either like a carrier or a marker, or just someone to make a nuisance of himself to stay on the feet. His Viper is only like 2 SPP away from its first level, and Medusa's already got Dodge and 2 heads. So, it's so easy for him to just, like dodge through everything, now. He'd be hoping to get some kind of, like movement on this guy, turn him into kind of like a natural one-turner or something. But 2 heads is such a good pickup on gutter runners. It makes me a little sad that even though it's 2 heads, it only seems to add in like an extra jaw for them. But anyway, yeah. The other thing that I really, really like, the first thing I look for when I look at how Skaven teams are developing and see how they're doing is actually, rather than the gutter runners, it's the Storm Vermin. And he already has Anti-Mage at the top with Mighty Blow, only 4 SPP away from another level up. He's looking to build this guy, his killer early, and I think it's incredibly important for Skaven teams to get killers early on because you're going to take casualties. You're playing rats, it's just the way it is. You need to try and, when you're playing Skaven, almost descend the game into chaos every single time you can. And removing their players as your guys are getting removed as well, it's such a good way just to, tip the game on its head. Rather than having all of these like bash teams and everything that like having, all their nice pretty cages and everything kind of, sealed off and everything. You just need to mix it up and just start smashing people and removing them and just you have your scoring threats and things that the other guys like, what on earth is going on? And I think that Caleb's really developed his team well to play like that.
Yeah, that Storm Vermin did work this week. Got 6 SPPs, so 3 Kaz against. Basically, I would probably say won the game against Yasmir's Masters of Div 1. And Yasmir is a very good coach, of course, knowing him from last season, playing his Lizards up in Div 1. So that really helped him. I know he Kaz the Bull Centaur, sacking him with the ball. The plus movement Bull Centaur actually got minus armored by this Storm Vermin. So that's a pretty nice early pickup there. I just think Atomic will be a bit annoyed. 17 SPP for a lineman was a bit much, and I checked, and he's actually hogged 3 of the MVPs, which sort of sucks because you don't want your lineman getting very developed at all, other than maybe kick and dirty player. So, that's a bit disappointing, but this team's been playing really solid defense for a Skaven team, actually. They haven't lost so far. They're 3-3-0, and they have won, they haven't let their opponents get, only one game they let their opponents get to 2. Other than that, it's been either a 1-1 or a 1-0 win. So that's been pretty impressive for them.
You say it's disappointing that his lineman's got 17 SPP, but at the same time, it's still a free blitzer. When your other 2 Storm Vermin are occupied, and this early, having all the blocking you can get to save the rerolls can be very valuable. I really like how Atomic's building this team. The SPP on the Gutter Runners is all relatively even. Might blow on the Storm Vermin, trying to develop those killers. He's got the 13 rats already. It's just a very rounded team. And the best part is, he's already gone past one of the Chaos Dwarfs, and all he's really got left to worry about in this division is Liam. Unfortunately, Liam's a little bit tougher than the rest of the opponents, but he's looking really, really good this season.
Yeah, he is.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the Division 3 leaderboard to see how everyone's been shaping up in this initial matches. So at the top we have Julian with the dwarf team we just looked at. Second is of course Liam, as they just said. It's a battle of the top 2 in the coming weeks. After that we've got Caleb, so we covered the top 3 kind of accidentally. So they're the guys that are all on 2 wins, no losses and everything so far. Then we have Warhammer Frog, who's making this is his first Big O season, isn't it? With the
Yes,
Bretonian team, so Robin's Brave Band, 1 win, 1 draw, no losses. And then we have a lot of people in this division that have gone, 1 win, 1 loss, kind of signaling that maybe it's going to be quite tight in the middle of the pack here.
definitely. I think once teams get a few more games under their belts, it really develop. And if you go down to the very bottom of the leaderboard, you got Brian on Slugs, the Peacock, who are both former Div 1 coaches, and Nubs, who's pretty much a tabletop player that's played at the state champions, who's just been a little bit unlucky in 2 games if he ever catches Twitch streams. So it's very competitive at the bottom of the ladder and at the very top of the ladder. So anything can happen over the next few weeks.
Of course, we'll be
Yeah.
looking forward to it immensely. Okay, so let's keep this show rolling and move on to Division 2. Lark, do you remember? I've forgotten who you said you were going to talk about.
I figure since I was already talking about one dwarf team, I'll talk about the other dwarf team.
Oh, of
It's got to
course,
be good old
yourself.
fun and interactive. So there's not really much to say about this team, except 9 guard, 7 mighty blow, count them, and 2 diving tackle, and 1 enjoy. It's
One enjoy.
1 enjoy.
There
I
is only
finally-
one enjoy.
There is. And after game 1, he's got +1 strength. So now, yeah, I'd love to get him another 100 SPP and hopefully get movement or jump up or something really stupid or lodge so nothing can knock me over. But yeah, this team's pretty much almost fully developed. All that's left is maybe develop the runner to get block and to get the 15 SPP, Longbeard, Mighty Blow, and then it's pretty much done. I mean, sure, it'd be nice to have tackle on the blitzers and a little bit of extra development, but it's pretty much a very well-rounded team. And I'm really pleased on how it's developed this season.
Okay, so
See, I'm just looking at the bounty board and I see something just wrong. The fact that this enjoy does not have a bounty on him this season. So we need to fix that. Lark seems to put all the bounties on other players other than his own. So boring. He really is a beast, isn't he?
I thought my brother had
He
bountied
is.
Enjoy. I knew he's definitely bountied
Yeah,
Happy,
pixel art.
but yeah, guys.
Yeah, I don't understand why bounty happy. It's just a mighty blow Longbeard. If that gets eliminated, whoop-de-doo. There'll be another happy to come along.
He bountied Happy because he also has a player called Happy, and there can only be
I
one
know.
Happy player in the league apparently. But so that's how that's going. Yeah, he bountied Enjoy as well, James. But yeah.
Is he?
So
What
one
is
question.
that bounty?
I don't know. It's definitely on there. But one question I've got is I remember I think it was watching one of your spin games and you had this big death roller running around. What happened to that?
Well, I played a couple of frenzies, a couple of spin games just to test out the death roller, and I found that when you're giving up a wizard or you're bringing an incredibly strong star player, I can't deal with the wizard with that death roller, and that star player versus death roller isn't even. Well, not really. It's usually a star player is a little bit strong. With the death roller, when it doesn't have block, it's very slow, and it's got loner. It just gives me too much extra risk when I already play an extra risky style of play. So unfortunately, the death roller had to go to lower my TB down a little bit, so I don't have to give up a wizard to all these Skaven teams in my division.
Yeah, what's really good is that dodge runner is just so handy because what really just makes you cry is sure you can go, oh, I'll spread out the guard, I'll get beaten up, but I'll steal the ball off the dwarves. But when they have a blood sure hands, which he only needs block now, you've got a blood sure hands runner as well, and it's just such a pain. You can't even really play the ball as long as you secure the ball early, which you should be doing now. I'm sure Lark will be doing. It's really hard to get it off him.
Yeah, only 8 SPP away, so should be able to get in the next few games. I've got a tough one against Sam Slade, but if I survive that, I don't think my next tough game is that can really kill me is until I go up against Catastrophe that doesn't really have a strip baller yet. Which should be a very, very brutal game. So I've got time to at least develop it. At least with the Agi teams, you can get a few touchdowns here and there. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get block or at least movement plus or an Agi up on speed if I want to be really greedy. Um, Other than that, I think everything's pretty much speaks for itself.
So, with that runner being so new, did you cycle a previous runner, or did your previous runner, meet an unfortunate end?
My runner got niggled in my final spin game against Walkathon. So I took out his diving tackle blitzer, and he took out my runner. So he got a niggled. He was a blodge, um, kickoff return runner. He was beautiful, but unfortunately, having an AV8 with a niggled when everyone's already targeting him each turn, he, I didn't really want to get 13 players to have another run, and I thought, okay, let's just cycle the runner, and I can at least build him up again anyway.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And
Looking
I'd
at
just like to say that Enjoy is currently leading the league for inflicted armor breaks. I mean, Olive Rebel. So he may currently be at 28 armor breaks, and the next best in Olive Rebel's at 22. And I'm hoping to get him at the top of the leaderboard by the end of the season.
does anyone know if there's some kind of yearly awards, or not yearly, but like season awards in Rebel? Like player that punched the most people. You can call it, the Golden Glove or something, or did they not do any
Well, we
of
might have
that?
to think of that. We are the
Yes and
casters, aren't
no.
we, Tommo?
There was one, but I don't think they did it last season because there's so much going on. And unfortunately, I think we're trying to do the Chaos Cup, do the playoffs, do sign-ups, update the rules. So it's just one of those things that just got missed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Pabanasi's right. They used to be, but they were voted on.
All right,
That's
okay,
going a while back.
that's interesting.
Which was, yeah, I know who that was. There was one player that was a standout. That was a bit of a legend. Hugh Jackman. Some of you older Rebel people may remember who he was. Big ogre in the REL. But going off topic a little, should we go to the next team?
Yeah, we can jump to the
Sure.
next team. You were going to talk about the Flying Rainbow Ponies, right? Or have you changed your mind again? Razor Leafs?
Or I think I'll go. Let's talk about poor Crusader because his team got taken to pieces by Lark. And looking at his team, how does Crusader get back into this? And so, if I was giving Crusader a bit of advice, this division is really dodgy. So I don't think for the next couple of games, what I imagine Crusader is going to do is just two-turn score as quick as he can. Because the fact is, with a sort of team like this, there is very little chance he's going to win his next game, which happens to be against who's the old Hobart Honey Badgers. So it's actually the bottom two teams are playing off. So what I'd be going if I'm Crusader is going, I'm going to rack up the score. If I score 3 touchdowns, that's a win for me. It doesn't matter if my opponent scores 4, because what you just want to do is get your team back in contention for later. The War Dancer is still got some great players. Dodgers Ranch is still a great player. Minus AV means he's going to die earlier, but it'll be a glorious death. And runs like wind, it's going to be pummeled. But in this division, it's not that bashy already. So what I'd be saying if I'm Crusader is trying to just rack up the score, especially with the AG5 players, racking up the score and just getting some development. Don't ever worry about buying linemen, because lone linemen you care even less about. I can see Crusader coming back into contention if he rolls some good rolls for his skill ups and he really just racks up the score for the next couple of games, doesn't worry too much about losing. You've only had to come second. So that means you can drop a couple games in the next 3 or so games. You know, you just want to score and get back in contention so you can win the last 6 or whatever.
Well, if you have a look at his goals, he's got 1,000. Oh yeah, 140,000 golds. I think that's enough to buy another War Dancer, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So he can definitely start developing another War Dancer next game. Um, that's just 2 touchdowns and get a nice skill. He's still got an AG5 catcher. The AG5 War Dance is still somewhat useful. Unfortunately, once your team starts falling apart, it becomes a bit of a risk. No one should be able to reliably hit down the tree now. Maybe the Norse teams can, but with their Yetis, so I don't know if everyone's a keep that or not. But still a very, very strong, well, not very strong team, but he can still win because it's still Wood Elves, and he does do some elf magic to win the game. Um, Unfortunately for Crusader, he's got most of the Bashy teams at the start of the season, and I think he's intending to re-roll to Goblins next season. And so by the time he gets all his development back up, it'll be time to play a new season. So I think this season's just the season for him to be testing something. And just for a little small fact, Crusaders had the most casualties against him out of all of Rebel at 15. I think the next size might be 12.
Wow. Yeah.
So very brutal.
I don't know. Like, I think he has to be in the running for like some of the. I'm not gonna say unluckiest, but like, I remember watching a few of his early games last season. It was like 2 or 3 turns in a row he tried to make like a 1 in 36 dodge and fail it. Like, some of his dice have just been, completely terrible at the start of the season.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anyone that's going to claim to be unluckier than Crusader, unfortunately. And it's not like he's doing bad decision. It's just that all he needs to do is roll one skull and lose another player, and it's almost GG with his games. So he definitely did try to make the most of his players when he played me. Unfortunately, when you're losing a player a turn, eventually it's just too hard to win the game.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
I
mean,
think.
Eldril and Jordell are two of the best star players, though. So, like, if he can get them, he could be a chance against some teams.
He's definitely going to cause some upsets this season. You can't underestimate anyone in the Big O this season. If you do, you've lost the game. So as long as you try to play your own brand of Blood Bowl, you'll probably do reasonably well. Crusaders definitely the one coach I recommend no one underestimate because he definitely knows how to play the game and he knows how to play the game really, really well. Unfortunately, just because he's been nuffed a few times doesn't mean he's going to get nuffed the next game.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
just to
Wood
come back to
Elves
that
can
point
hand out
again,
nuffs the
like,
other way.
when I was watching, like, I think it must have been, kind of like early into the second half, I started watching your game against Crusader, and like, the first thing I noticed was that there was something like, 8 elves in the Cas box. Like, they weren't even getting KO'd or stunned or anything. It was like every single time it was like Cas box, Cas box, Cas box. So, I just thought it was pretty unreal, really.
It was, and even I was a little bit salty because Enjoy only got the one casualty that game after blitzing almost every turn. So I was really spread out around the team, which was good for development, I suppose. And it's just incredibly unlucky for Crusader, unfortunately. But sometimes you get games like that. And the other thing is, he was rolling skulls a lot. It's not that I was just rolling powers; he was rolling skulls. And unfortunately, when you roll skulls, you lose.
Yep. Okay, so I think we've spent enough time looking at the Razor Leafs. That was Liam's picks, and next was my pick, and I need to try and remember who I was talking about. Oh, that's right, I was going to go for Ravensclaw, weren't I? Because we ended up picking the top 3 teams again. So okay, this is me looking at another Skaven team here. The first thing that you have to notice about this team is that it has the Rat Ogre. I like the Rat Ogre sometimes.
Fire it.
I'm lying. I really hate the Rat Ogre. Again, it's a commitment to Blitz. It's got armor 8, it's squishy, it's missed next game, so it's clearly being targeted. You have the 2 Storm Vermin, which are really, really well developed, with Guard, Claw, Mighty Blow, Tackle. Really nice. And then these set of Gutters that are just, it's pretty sick, to be honest. The team seems like feature complete. The only thing I'm a bit weirded about is the 2 throwers. Like, I think if you're gonna run throwers, you can make them. You can kind of like you can make an argument for like 1 thrower and be like, okay, he's gonna pick the ball up while my gutter runners run around and do gutter runner stuff and blah blah blah. But like 2 for me, it's just I feel like they're just a more expensive lineman. So why not save the TV and have the lineman kind of thing? But if he's played like this, and having a look at his statistics, he's 10 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. So that's more than incredibly positive. So God, he clearly knows how to play this team. But that's just my take on it. I'd question the word's not coming into my head. I'd question the value. There we go, of the throwers in the team.
I think. Go on, mate.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I definitely agree with Tommo. I could see like trying to get a double on the thrower, getting a plus AG, something like that. But you've already got a double on one, so to be just firing the other one and buying 3 line rats in its place. Yeah. Well, what were you gonna contribute, Lark?
I was going to say you're half right, but you're half wrong. With throwers, they're very frustrating to deal with slow teams because they can just pass over your head. Unfortunately, so I think in the right league, throwers are good. This isn't the right league to have a thrower though. So I would definitely ditch the second thrower just because there's 20 extra TV that you don't need to be giving up. Especially when you got 4 gutter runners. Those gutter runners, I really love their development. They're all got a certain role, a certain place on the team, and they're very frustrating to deal with. When he played against me, he always used that horned gutter runner to blitz me, and it always seemed to work. And it's really frustrating to deal with. So I don't know how he's going to play next game, losing his horns. I don't like guard and the storm vermin just because I don't like them getting hit. Now his claw just gets targeted a little bit too much. Missing that rat ogre, it's a little bit of a vicious next game for him, but at the same time, it's still Skaven, and developed gutter runners are a pain in the backside to deal with, so he's still in a good spot. Still, next game, I think he's up against Catastrophe, and I don't know how he's going to deal with that without his rat ogre, so it'd be an interesting game to watch anyway.
Well, he pulled off a really good win against the Rat Lovers, which is really impressive because Rat Lovers are high TV, got their 3 plus AG gutter runners, so they're really, really good. And in Skaven mirror matchups, I'd expect them to take most of them. So obviously, he's a really good coach to be able to get the win there because Slice is no slacker himself. So he's done well to get the win there.
That was a nice game to watch. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch till it was 2-2 because I had to play my game. And he was getting beaten the crap out of all game. I think the casualty dice were a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, well, if we look at our Big O Casters resources, that's the spreadsheet that's been going around. I do remember the Ravens clause. If you look at that CAS plus and minus, they're, despite sitting in second position, they're at negative 11 casualties. So they've been really taking the hits and not dishing anything back out, which usually Skaven are pretty good at matching the hits. And that's pretty unlucky considering he's only been giving up an average of 39 blocks against a game, which is pretty alright because you think most of them are going to be against your line rats anyway. So yeah, a bit unlucky for uh, this coach here, but he's really done well to get the wins, I guess.
Yeah, he's still 2-0, and he's got a tough game coming up against. Having a look at the league manager. Yeah, so Catastrophe, and then after that he's got the Goodfellas. So both definitely winnable games, and if he survives those games, and ends up 4-0, he can definitely sneak in a playoff spot. So he's definitely beaten my expectations this season. So best of luck to you, Gordy.
There's some talk in the chat at the minute about the value of horns on the ball sacker. I'm just gonna go out and say, that I really like it to everyone. Like, if you've really specialized this guy and you're like, right, this guy is going to be the one that's blitzing, and I think it was someone said that he blitzes every turn with this guy almost anyway. You know, I think it's a really valuable pickup, but I'd much rather have horns than something like Dauntless if you're guaranteed that you're going to be blitzing with them. So that's
Yeah,
just.
pretty much. That's his ball sacker. He gets around everything with two heads, and just blitzes every turn with those horns. And that's pretty much probably the reason why it's MNG, because he pretty much tried to hit it with the ball. I'm guessing slash returned fire with his really scary storm vermin. Um, yeah, I can definitely see why some people would like Dauntless, but Horns is just a lot more reliable.
Yeah, it certainly actually looks cool on the gutter. But usually for a ball sacker, I really dislike Dauntless. Like, Dauntless is like the last skill I'll take. I'll take leap first, take very long legs on a gutter runner. But it's all right, especially if you're hitting with him a lot. It becomes so much more valuable. And he's got wrestle and he's got two heads, so he's just a handy blitzer. Um, I'd just like to see the Storm Vermin get a bit more developed and be able to get that, getting piling on for this Storm Vermin's huge because that means he's got tackle pom. Don't need claw as much in this division because it's only Lark you really need it against. Yeah, that could be big in taking this team to the next level. Maybe getting piling on the Vermin and firing the Rat Ogre.
Would you really develop that Storm Vermin, or would you re-roll it because it's still a niggled injury? And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be carrying a niggled injury for too long.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess the other Storm Vermin is the example of why I love Mighty Blow first. Especially, guard can be better first on pieces that don't have mutation access, but on your Chorf blockers and your Storm Vermin, I love going Mighty Blow first simply because guard Mighty Blow, yeah, it's alright, fair enough. But the problem is it doesn't rack up Kaz like Mighty Blow will. And it's just not the same. So this guy's a while before he hits Mighty Blow and then hits Tackle and then hits piling on. That's ages away for him. So, yeah, do you restart? I think he's got to stick with him. It's niggled, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
What
a
about you,
niggled
Tommo?
injury.
It's a niggle, and I think you said that his next game was against Catastrophe.
Yep.
So if we keep that in mind, then yeah, I'd be tempted just to get rid of him. The tackle isn't going to be doing anything against Catastrophe because he's got no blodge or anything. So I would maybe take the chance to kind of like roll a new guy. Get some proper armor 8 instead of some niggled armor 8 against all the mighty blow that Catastrophe has. And, just hope and use the extra TV that you've got in use the extra money that you've got now that you don't have the TV to potentially pick up something helpful. Although he's still going to be TV ahead, I would imagine.
At the same time, you can just put it out in the open to use as Minotaur bait because your brother likes to blitz every turn with that stupid Minotaur anyway.
Well, he has to. That was like the agreement he made with me. I'm like, look, if you're really gonna run this thing, like, you have to take advantage of it by like blitzing with it every turn. You either need to hit with it or blitz with it every single turn. Otherwise, there's literally no point in having it.
Anyway, I think it's about 150k below your brother at the moment in TV. Have to do the exact calculations when the game's going on once I see the final squads anyway.
Okay, so let's move on to, well, actually the leaderboard first. We'll go with Lark since you're in this division. Can you give us your thoughts on how the leaderboard is shaping up in Div 2?
Sure. So we got the two international imports with Gordy and Dees on top, both undefeated, and James 1 win 1 loss, currently at fourth on how they calculate their leaderboard. So yeah, the imports are doing very, very well. Can't say the same for. Thankfully, Dazivi, the other imports 002, so it's not all the imports. Very, very balanced at the moment. There's a lot of strong teams currently 1 win 1 loss, such as Sam Slade and myself, and Hirama and the Rat Lovers. So it's not like um it's straightforward yet, but it's definitely forming up to be a very bashy division with all the low armor, surprisingly. So, and all the claws make it a lot scarier for myself. But yeah, with Gordian D's on top, Monkey Chunks and Daz on bottom. At least one of Monkey Chunks and Daz, were they playing against each other? No, they're not. I'm hoping one of them does start to win a little bit, so it's not so yeah depressing when you just losing all your games. But yeah, very, very nice division.
Okay, so let's move on to Division 1. And again, Lark, your pick in this division was.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with one of the old favourites of the division and going with the Capital Rats. Why? Because they've got some really, really stupidly developed players that scare the crap out of me, which is the Claw, Dauntless, Tackle, Mighty Blow, Piling On, and Turnbull, or which if you watch the game he played against Reese, pretty much wrecked Reese until he got removed off the field, and then you got the one turner threat in P. Costello. His other gutter runners do have some development, so they're definitely very, very strong. He's only got the one thrower, thankfully, instead of the two throwers, which is got some nice development. He's got the free reroll with leader. Unfortunately, his Linos has had a few injuries, but he's now at least got the money to replace them. But I think he's just rather going for a team of 15 players and just throw the Linos at the opposing team.
Yeah, do you think there ever comes a point where you start looking to replace some of those, injury-prone linemen, or you just wait and let, order take its course?
He
You
has
definitely
sorry to butt in you, Lark. He has TARDIS next. They're not very look. Muscat is a great coach, but they're not very scary in terms of they have no piling on and only 3 mighty blow pieces. One being the big guy. So I think it might be the time to do it, in my opinion. Looking at his next person, Lark.
the Niggles a little bit iffy on. The AV6 definitely, because the AV6 is going to get removed either way. It's just a bit, yeah, not worth it. He doesn't have much mighty blow, so you don't necessarily need to replace yeah, the Niggles, but I'd rather be doing it sooner rather than later. Maybe
Yeah.
not the Dirty Player, because Dirty Player is very valuable. But and Kick, yeah, it's really a bit of a tough one, isn't it? Because Kick and Dirty Player are
I
both
think
very
it's got to
valuable.
be. I agree with Lark in that AV6 got to shoo him out. He's got 15 players anyway, so may as well get rid of him, replace him. The movement 6-1's going to probably be the last to go, I'd say, other than your Kick and your Dirty Player. I'd keep those until you get another line rat skill up. skill them up with that kick and dirty player, and then fire him.
Yeah,
Just got to wait for it.
Yeah, Mirascadu in chat saying, "I hope he keeps the niggles." So maybe that's a little bit of a telling sign.
At the same time, after this week, next week he's up against Papa Nasty. He's looking to remove every single one of those linemen anyway.
Yeah, these rats look like they're going to be taking a bit of a pasting in the coming weeks then. If you ever look at the history though, like how he's gone in his first couple of games, he actually got a 1-1 draw with the Astrowalks. I'm assuming that wasn't a spin. That was, yeah, Season 6 Div 1. And he's also got, well, he went down 2-1 to Reese's Ravens, but was that a comfortable score from Reese or a later one? I don't really remember.
That was a later score. Yeah, it was a turn 16 pass. Lynx wasn't too happy with how that game went, but Reese did really well to get back into the game at the same time.
Okay, awesome. So, the next pick in Div 1 is Liam.
Who was I going to have a look at? I was going to have a look at
Shadowhill, wasn't it? Because they got win no draw.
Who was who?
You're going to
that's
have a
right.
look at the Cowboys.
Shadowhill. Yeah, because we were looking for teams that had some change in development and stuff, and the Cowboys sure have. They lost a lot of players last week. Bit of a dicing. Even Sanjun said so, so you know it must be a bit the man who just stood in awe at those 3 blitzes last season. But yeah, you can see he's actually -9 in his CAS plus or minus. I believe it was 9-0 in the casualty scores for that game, which against Wes C, it wasn't against Papa Nasty, it was against Wes C, which is really interesting because Wes C isn't particularly dangerous. He has some pretty nasty players. His Wolves are nasty, but really, really some nice injury dice. But the Cowboys still are just awesome. Just have a bit of niggling. That's probably the problem now. Looking up at Camadil, he's got a niggle now, but 7448. He's a vampire elf. No way you sack him, I don't think yet. Rian Finn, the Leap Blitzer, he might face the axe sooner rather than later. No one, I think, will get fired until Sanjun has the money to replace them, so that they're at least locked in until then. But yeah, this blitz is really good, but AV7 does hurt him. I think we'll see him probably still play out to the end of the season, just for the fact that Sanjun needs his blitzes to really be good, because blitzes are very important for the Dark Elf team, and he's currently only got 3 anyway. Moving down, the Witch Elf, just another vampire elf, just plain nasty. Nothing on that. Got a block, sidestep, mighty blow, tackle, frenzy, dodge. Witch Elf, pretty much perfect Witch Elf, really. Nothing more you can ask for there. The runner got even better. He got his 2nd plus movement. So despite not actually having block, that would probably be his legend skill. This runner really adds the one turning threat that you don't expect Dark Elves to usually have, which is a really useful tool for Sanjin. Then he's also got just his lineman. But the real thing, every single player except one lineman has dodge. So every single player's got that basic dodge development. So his core is still here, little beaten up, but still a really nice team.
Yeah.
Definitely. Unfortunately, he did lose that 62 SPP Lino and that 24 SPP Blitzer. Don't think they had anything special on them, but at the same time, it's not something you want to see happen. But as long as you've got those 2 Witch Elves still around, you've got that Vampire Blitzer, you've got that Agi5 Blitzer, it's still a lot for any team to deal with. And even if you do manage to get into a 1-1 draw near the end of the game, he still has a 1 turning threat. And if anyone knows how to one-turn touchdown in this league, it's going to be Sand Dune. So it's still, yeah, going to be a very, very dangerous game for anyone to play. And unfortunately, did just get the draw against Wesley, but he did manage to scrap out the draw. I thought Wesley was going to win that game.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if in the long run you do think about sacking that blitzer. Like, you know, yeah, he's 7'3", 5'7", so the plus IG is amazing for one. But then, looking at it with, like Blodge and Leap, it's a war dancer basically on a Dark Elf team. And like
That's a good point, Tommo.
whereas like war dancers on like a Wood Elf team, yeah, they're kind of, expected to be like the star of the show and everything, and they get the most development and that kind of stuff. Like having a war dancer on a Dark Elf team just has to be even better than having one on a Wood Elf team, obviously. Because
But it's a
everyone
very,
around isn't just gonna crumble. So
it's still a very expensive war dancer though.
God, it's an IG5. How much does IG5 give? That's 50k, isn't it? For the plus IG.
I
Is
thought it
it
was 30k.
40? It's 40. It's 40k.
So what would an IG5 war dancer be? Like if you just got it at the start and then got like the plus IG.
It'd be 160.
160. That's only 20k difference. Like I'm fine with that, honestly. Like as you said, as well as it with being not just like a normal war dancer, but a war dancer on a Dark Elf team. I think it's incredibly valuable. My other thing I want to talk about on this team is literally just how much stat ups, he actually gets. It's unreal. Like, you can tell this team's been around for a while and had quite a lot of, like the key players and everything would be, his project players have been protected very well. The movement 9 runner I think is kind of interesting, but like I don't know. I'm looking forward to my game against Sanjin because like I really want him to teach me like how this runner's used. Um, like the movement, I guess it makes sense because it's like an extra spot you can move before having to throw your pass. And you can stay further back out of range and everything. And there's the one turn threat, but like I guess he's got dump off, but like surely having like a blodge carrier in the middle of a cage where you feel more comfortable with it than kind of something like this. So I don't know. Like I said, Sanjin's a great coach, and I'm really looking forward to him teaching me, just how effective this thing can be whenever our game is.
If Nuffle gives you a stat up on a valuable positional, you take it. If you reject Nuffle's gifts, he'll make you pay for it. So I really do like the movement 9 runner. And yeah, it's not something I'll be looking forward to because it should just be able to run around your team with a dodge and just do some insane one-turn touchdowns.
No, I'd like to see it. Like genuinely, like I look at Sanjin as kind of like one of my like dark elf senpai type of thing. So it will be literally be like you teach me how this works type thing. So anyway, Shadow Hill Cowboys, of course, are in total over their ReBBL career 37 wins, 8 draws, 5 losses. And they started with, a win and the draw against WesC, which we were just talking about. Okay, so, moving on to, this is the last pick, isn't it? That's my pick.
Yep, it's yours.
Who was I going to talk about?
Walk machine.
That's right. I'm scouting out my future opponent, well remembered. So yeah, next week is my team Echoes of Ulthware playing against Warp Machine, and Lyskaris did a bit of a number on me last season. We talked about this game quite a bit because I managed to remove his tackle blitzer right at the start, and he only had one at that time. So I was like, yeah, I'm in good position now. And then he just proceeded to roll pows on my blodges for the rest of the game until the point where they were all removed and everything was done. It was just like But if you look at this game, look at this team, and you compare it to some of the other Bash teams in the league, like it's Bash Incorporated light. He doesn't have he doesn't have the Mighty Blow and the Killers and the piling on that like Bash Incorporated has. And then if you look at kind of like Astro Orcs, he doesn't have the guard spam that the Astro Orcs have. I think that if he had like another season of development or something before coming across these teams, I think he'd really be able to take it to them. But the fact that he's ending up in games against these guys already is just showing kind of like maybe a bit of a difference between like the Div 3 teams that have then moved up to Div 1 and the teams that have been in Div 1 for a little bit longer. So now that he's got like Bash Incorporated out the way, I do expect him to recover. I expect him to get SPP against me because he's one of my natural enemies. But yeah, no, over time, yeah. I mean, he was in playoffs. Did he lose his first game or second game in playoffs?
Yes, he did. He lost his first.
Yeah.
But the
He
fact that
got surfed in.
let's see, the fact that he's been to playoffs, he has that experience of playing at that level. He's clearly a good coach. He's someone that like I would always seem to run into at stupid times on the ladder, and he would cream me. I think it was at like 8:15 every night. I would keep running into him, and it was a little bit infuriating playing against his Chaos Dwarves. So I can tell he's a good coach. So I'm really again, it's another game that I'm looking forward to that maybe a more sane person wouldn't look forward to.
Yeah, he made an unfortunate mistake at the end of his playoff game to have an early defeat, but he's definitely a very, very strong coach. And you say he doesn't have the guard spam that Walkathon has, and he doesn't have the mighty blow spam that, or the kill skills that Papanasi has. But he's got all the stat ups, and those stat ups make him a team I would hate to play against because he might be missing the strength 5 Black Hawk against you, but he's still got an Agi 4 blitzer to carry the ball. He's got that movement to get around the pitch, and he's got his core skills on his Black Hawks with the block, and he's got most of the core skills on his blitzers with the mighty blow. So he's building up his core still. Sure, another 10 games will be a lot more dangerous, but at the same time, this is not a team I'd love to play against.
Yeah, for all Lascaris' awesomeness, he's actually on the bottom of the ladder at the moment because he's faced Papa Nasty and Sand Dunes. Probably the worst two teams, to be honest, for you to face in the first round. So what I think is going to be interesting is see how he recovers when you don't have Papa Nasty for your next 10 games. It's really handy. It means you can develop without having to. There's not really any other really bashy team in Big O Div 1. So he can just get all these players ready. And missing Prime, actually, for the game against you, Tommo, isn't as big a disadvantage as you might think. Against L's, Blackhawks are handy, but his block and plus strength is really quite bloaty. And at 1500, he'd probably rather have a wizard, I would say, than this Blackhawk. Not saying anything bad about Prime, just the fact that he doesn't have tackle or guard or mighty blow yet, so he's not quite as scary as he will be in the future. Against L's, you really need your blitzers to be doing the work, and the Scaris blitzers can do the work.
Yep, he's definitely a coach. I'm not underestimating. Like I said, he took me to the Kosh last season. I think, like I said, it was the game against him that made me reaching. For me to reach playoffs after him, it would have been extremely difficult. And then for like the game against Julian that I lost was kind of like the final nail in the coffin, really. So I totally respect him. I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be a good one. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's have a quick look at the leaderboard, and then we can send everyone who's watching off to watch the Marca game that's currently being played. Liam, do you want to give your thoughts on the ladder in Div 1?
Well, looking at it, it's of course only 2 rounds in. Not too big an issue when you've got 3 player spots up for grabs. The other divs are a bit more cutthroat. You got to really like if you lose more than 3 games, that you probably won't come out on top in Div 3. In Div 1, there's a lot more breathing space. So teams like Walk Machine, who we're just discussing, can come back. Morka hasn't had a good start at all against Walkathon, but playing the 2 Orc teams other than Lascaris in the division first up is pretty alright for Morka, really, just because of the fact that he doesn't have to worry about them for the rest of the season. So I think it's anyone's game really here still, but teams that I'd be watching out for, TARDIS are doing pretty well, and since they're under that TV, a bit under everyone else, they're going to be getting wizards, and I'm sure Miroskadu has been using that to his advantage, getting those wizards. Other teams that I see as being teams to watch out for, probably actually Reese. I reckon Reese had a really good, and of course Papanasti. He has left a trail of destruction in his wake, really dominating early on in the season. He is, so it should be good to watch how everything plays out. I feel like it's going to be very even in Div 1. REL 1 is notorious for having, like, I think last year the winner only out of 14 games won 8. So very, very tight. And I could see this sort of being a trend for this division as well. How about you, Lark?
Yeah, I somewhat agree. At the same time, the 3 teams at the top that are currently undefeated, Mirascati lost going to the playoffs in the tiebreaker. Reese is a playoff coach, and Papanasi won the off-season tournament. So I think it might just be a new reign of terror on Div 1 instead of having Morka, Walkathon, and Sandrine. You've now got Mirascati, Papanasi, and Reese dominating Div 1. So I think it might spread out a little bit more throughout the season, as the dominant teams still end up dominating a bit more. At the same time, each game can be anyone's game because each of these teams are a very strong team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you just look at the caliber of the coaches that are in the league, like apart from me, because I feel like I'm the worst coach in here, like honestly. But everyone just has so much experience of the game, so much hours logged and everything. Like you look at every single team that comes up, there's no team that you think, oh, maybe I'll be able to get some. At least from my point of view, I look at them, I don't think, oh, maybe I'll be able to get some easy SPP or something here, because there's just no easy SPP to be had anywhere. Like everyone's a struggle, and if you do get, even if you get a couple of removals or something, if you leave your spells exposed, kind of doing it, every team here can punish you. So it's a really exciting division to play in, I think.
The best part is Morka, who went the furthest in playoffs for the Big O last season, might be at the bottom of the ladder after today once he plays Walkathon, which is a real, change.
Okay, so
Yeah.
have we missed anything? You guys got anything to add about the recap or anything in general? Anything that's happened in the Big O you want to talk about?
Alright, so I'll just do a bit of a shout out for everything that's going on. So Clan League is hopefully returning on Wednesday. So I think Big O might be bringing 1 or 2 teams. They're still trying to sort that out. So keep an eye out on that. Keep an eye out for Crusaders Undertale, Slice's Nathletics, and Monkey Chunks The Big Observer. All of it should come out on Reddit. If you haven't purchased a Big O or a Rebel t-shirt, they're currently on sale. Ask Metal or myself for some more details on that. The league should be rolling over on Wednesday, so feel free to plan or schedule any of your games Thursday onwards. We still have 2 free spots in Division 3, so if you do have a friend that wants to join, please give either myself, Mirascadi, or Walkathon a shout out, and we can send them an invite. And other than that, keep an eye out on Tommo's Twitch and YouTube, Crusaders Twitch, and Nubs' Twitch. I think they're the main streamers. Oh, Papanasi as well. and catch all the Big O Blood Bowl content for the upcoming season.
Awesome. Liam, have you got any shout outs or anything you want to say? You were going to be setting up a stream at some point, weren't you?
When school has sort of calmed down, so I will try and set up a stream next weekend. So hopefully that can happen before my game coming up. I got a day off this Friday, so I might try and do that on Friday.
Yeah, awesome. Have you
Oh,
got a
that reminds
username on
me.
Twitch that you're gonna send everyone to? Anyone that can follow
It will-
already and check you out, or?
It will be Keep It Cool. You will have probably seen me around in chat before. I'll just put it up on Discord. You guys will see it around, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome.
Just one more shout out before I forget. For those that are curious to see what happens when an unmovable killing machine comes up against the dodgiest team around, I'll be playing a friendly against Morka this weekend, hopefully. So for all those that have a little bit of want to see what happens between my dwarf team and the wood elf team, yeah, hopefully we'll give a shout out on the Big O Discord.
Okay, cool. That's definitely not a game to be missed. So, yeah. So as always, guys, I want to thank Liam, thank Lark for jumping on board and doing the recap. It's been a pleasure as always, and yeah, Lark's already shouted out my YouTube and Twitch. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you're really getting stuck into your games and having a good time, as good time as we are, and please, we're gonna try and do this every week, but sometimes some stuff comes up. I know I'm gonna be having a little bit of a stressful time coming up, but so if we miss one, we might do another one at like midweek or something. But we're gonna try to keep these out and keep them regular. So everyone, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for the next big old recap. Bye bye. Okay, cool. Thank you.